Alright, what's up, guys? So, WrestleMania has uploaded a video titled What Happened to Angry Miz Girl, WWE Infamous Fans. So, I kind of was like watching this video thinking that they were just going to talk on that girl. And then the way that they kind of like had the video like laid out, I thought, and then because I seen like that, you know how like they do like that like GIF thumbnail thing when you hover over it and then it kind of like shows. So, I thought like some stuff was going down with her, but it looks like they're going to be talking on a bunch of different fans. So, yeah, it's like kind of clickbaited me there for a second. But anyways, but no, guys, if you haven't, make sure you go subscribe to WrestleMania for more videos like this. And yeah, I've reacted to a bunch of different videos of theirs. So yeah, definitely go check it out. Also subscribe to me because it is helpful. So anyways, let's go ahead and get into this video.
Oh my!
It's funny though, them fans, they be in the crowd. They end up being like trending all across social media.
Over the years, there have been a number of WWE fans
too.
that have become infamous thanks to their passion and love for the promotion. How they attained this notoriety is usually...
Batista had wrote about him. So Batista came out with a book in 2007, I believe, 2007, 2008. And he talked on like how I guess this guy made him mad. So I think he said he's seen him in the Buffalo Wild Wings and then, or was it that or Hooters? Either, I think it was Hooters. But anyways, he's seen the guy in there. So, paid one of the waitresses that worked there was just like, hey, go over there, grab his hat, and then, like, rub it between your butt and things. And she did. And I was like, oh, that's funny. Yeah, that book was pretty good. I would recommend if y'all haven't, go read that. It talks on a lot of different things. But anyways.
Thanks to them being at ringside for various shows and them having a
times.
distinct appearance that makes them stand out amongst the fans. A fan may also be immortalized thanks to them having an amazing reaction to a historic WWE moment,
That girl was so
and
bad.
this reaction probably
That
then
was all
gets
kids from watching
replayed or
WWE.
memed for years to come. But which ones were they, and where are they now? Well, join us now as
That guy.
WrestleMania looks at
That was
8
when,
infamous
Undertaker
WWE
lost for the first
fans
time at
and find out
WrestleMania.
where they are now. Be sure to subscribe and hit that notification bell for daily wrestling videos and follow us on Facebook for exclusive lists. Number 1. Shocked WrestleMania 30 guy. WrestleMania 30 was notable for a lot of reasons. The main reason being that the WWE finally decided to shock the world and end The Undertaker's 21-0 WrestleMania winning streak.
I was talking about this on my live stream not too long ago too. I didn't watch that WrestleMania. That was like one of the WrestleManias I had skipped out on, sadly. But I remember reading about it, and when I seen that Undertaker had lost, I had to like look at it a couple of times, and then I had to like look up online, like go through Twitter and YouTube and everywhere else to see like, yo, like, is this true? Like, did he really lose? Like, even though I was like of age and things, a part of me was still mad. Like, why? Like, really? Like, really? That's what y'all gonna do to us? Like, you gonna let us live? Like, I thought I was gonna be able to live my whole life, get to all the way my final few days here on the earth as an old man, and be like, hey, you know what? At least Undertaker went undefeated at WrestleMania, and I would have been fine with that. But now I'm gonna be an old man, be like, I wish Undertaker would have never lost that WrestleMania. I think I'm like, what are you talking about? There's just like, oh, Tyler's delirious. He wasn't. We don't know what he's saying anymore. He's been going off about that for like the past 2 days. I'm like, but I'm mad. I'm still mad about that. Why? There was no need for it. Then to carry on WrestleMania, like Undertaker wrestling things like nothing ever happened. I'm like, I don't know, man. I'm like, either it should have been like the last, like, you know, his last wrestling match, or they should have just had it where he just remained undefeated. But anyways.
Taker would lose clean to Brock Lesnar in an incredibly underwhelming match. After numerous F5s, the streak was over and fans across the world were absolutely stunned. The reaction to the match finish was nothing like you've ever seen in a WWE match. It resulted in shock and silence as fans had no idea how
Somebody petty for doing that, putting 21-1 up there. I'm like, he just lost. Don't take that off the screen, because we don't need to see that right now.
Process what they just saw. One fan whose reaction went viral was Alice Met. And for those of you who don't know, this was the shocked fan who stood up and looked like he had just seen a ghost. Alice turned into a huge wrestling meme and became so popular that he would even get verified on Twitter.
Wow.
Jeez, not even I'm verified on Twitter.
I know.
Oh yeah, I only got 9k followers. consider following me. Speaking to WWE.com, Ellis would discuss his reaction to the streak ending. He stated, "I was actually rooting for Brock Lesnar. For the past few years, I've been rooting against the streak. I rooted for Triple H, who is my favorite wrestler. I rooted for CM Punk, but I never expected any of them would win. I knew Undertaker would win. Somehow, some way, Undertaker always wins.
Yep.
So with Brock in my head, I didn't think it would actually happen, you know? When it happened, my mind was stopped. It was like, oh my god, what happened? I just witnessed history." Now these days, Ellis owns a digital marketing business and still seems to be a huge wrestling fan. Number 2.
I don't feel like it never really ends. Like that's the thing where I was like, when young, I guess I never really sat down and thought about it. But if I did, I'd probably have been like, well, I still watch wrestling, every time it comes on and things. And so I might miss out on the pay-per-views and stuff. But I'm like, I make sure I watch WrestleMania at least. But yeah, bro, look, man, I'm gonna be a wrestling fan all the way up until, I'm probably up until wrestling just somehow just ends all across like the world and nobody watches wrestling anymore, or just it no longer comes on TV. But I'm always gonna be a wrestling fan. So,
Felicia Rose. Felicia Rose is one of the most infamous WWE fans of all time.
What does that sign say?
However, this is unfortunately for mostly negative reasons. Now, we previously mentioned that she did get kicked out twice, but that seems to be incorrect, thanks to a tweet.
Crazy.
She did mention that she held a Face Fuck Me Finn sign at NXT Brooklyn 2015, but she actually got kicked out the Raw after SummerSlam 2018 with no sign in hand. Thanks for the correction. Now, we'll assume that she got kicked out for bad behavior, as why else would you get kicked out of a show? Now, whatever this behavior was unclear, but the show indicates that the female fan was doing nothing other than heavily booing Roman Reigns during his main event showdown against Finn Balor. Now, it appears from Rose's social media that she is now a wrestling manager on the independent scene and even has her own merchandise on PWTs.
Oh, that's
Number 3, Green Shirt Guy. As some fans become famous in the wrestling world by simply attending lots of shows and being at ringside on numerous occasions. This has been the case with Green Shirt Guy, as he's been at ringside for numerous shows throughout the years and has attained a niche fan
always
base.
they look for the hat guy. That's the only guy I had looked. But Green Shirt Guy, I guess when wrestling comes back, or when the fans are able to sit in there, when things just overall get back to normal, and I'm like, okay, I'll make sure to look out after him.
Social media. There is speculation that he's actually related to a WWE official, which is how he gets his front row tickets for a lot of shows. But this has never been confirmed. Now, it's hard to work out what Green Shirt Guy does for a living based on his social media, as 100% of his posts are focused on wrestling. He simply may be just a WWE superfan with a large disposable income.
Got him
Number
in the
4,
background. That's
Vladimir.
funny.
Vladimir the Superfan was a fan that would continuously appear in the crowds at WWE shows throughout the 80s and 90s.
This is the best WrestleMania ever. All right.
Vladimir kind of looked like a Malcolm X
He
stunt
was so
double.
well known as a superfan that he would even have his very own Internet Movie Database page. It was reported that Vladimir had connections in WWE, which allowed him to attend the shows and attain great seats so frequently. However, as WWE entered the 2000s, his appearance dipped off and he cut back on the amount of shows that he was appearing at. Vladimir runs a Facebook page where he posts photos if he ever attends modern wrestling shows, and in 2017, he became an official US citizen. Number 5, Izzy. Izzy first rose to prominence thanks to being a super fan of Bayley during Bayley's NXT
Did
days.
she Sasha Banks snatched her thing off and she started crying? I think it was that same girl. I don't know. But
It was a young girl who always dressed in Bayley merchandise and would always receive a hug from Bayley as she would make her entrance. As Sasha Banks famously made Izzy cry during Sasha's match against her at NXT TakeOver Respect, in an incident which seemingly just made Izzy even more famous. She then began to take independent bookings and even wrestled, this despite her being just a child, which received mixed reviews from fans online. Izzy at one stage was going to be the
of course they're not going to hurt the child. I think that that's cool. You get a kid involved and it's let them live out a wrestling dream. I'm like, yeah, that's dope. I would have loved to do some stuff like that, but yeah, it's I don't know. I think it's cool. I'm like, if they were to, I'm like, as long as my kid ain't getting choke slammed and power bombed or, out here getting hit across the head with a steel chair, I'm like, look, if he just, does some kid punches on the wrestler and the kid kick and then, pins the wrist, I'm like, I'm fine with that. I'm like, I'll be sitting there rooting for my kid as if it was some real wrestling stuff, but anyways, I'm like, yeah, I don't think that's a problem. But anyways,
Piece of an NXT kid show.
or maybe they might just been like, oh, it's like they just didn't like the fact that they got kids wrestling. I don't know. There's like two different like ways of not liking it. The fact that she's a kid and a minor and she might get hurt, or the fact that she's a kid and there are like kids don't wrestle or kids shouldn't wrestle or something that's like it's not entertaining. So regardless, I think it's cool that they got her to do that. But anyways,
was going to launch back in 2018 and it was even taped, but unfortunately it never aired. She stated, "I really don't know why it never happened. I was excited about it. It was going to be awesome and different. It was going to be different because it was going to bring in more of a kid crowd. It may happen soon. I hope it does. I don't want to give too much away, but it was a lot of fun doing it. They had me doing a mix of stuff from interviewing, some small segments, but I don't want to give too much away in case they do air it one day." Number 6, Angry Miz Girl. Angry Miz Girl became a meme overnight.
Yes, ladies and gentlemen, the Miz is the
I think I seen that. I was just all like, dang, that girl, she's all like, like she gonna run down there
now
and
20,
hurt
and a Reddit
somebody.
user managed to interview her and ask what she's been up to since she turned into a wrestling meme. Well, I'm currently 20 and I'm taking off a year from college to try and figure out
She's
what
20 years old now. How old was she then? I thought that girl was like, I honestly thought she was like under 10 or something. So she must have been like in middle school maybe when that had happened. Dang, that girl 20, that's wild, huh? That is crazy. Okay, well, now I feel old because I'm like, dang, bro, like, it really happened. That girl, 20 years old, she working 2 jobs, so like, and college, bruh. That's wild.
I want to do in the future.
That is wild.
I work 2 jobs as a sales associate in my hometown. I eventually want to move out of Florida and somewhere up north where it's colder. I'm not really up to anything crazy, just trying to figure out life at the moment. Number 7, Rick Ackberger. Rick is known by almost every WWE fan. He wears a red hat and blue shirt and he attends up to 50 shows per year.
Dang.
He's known by fans as either the sign guy or the red hat guy. He is notable for creating witty yet humorous signs, and he usually brings around 20 different signs to each show. Rick has appeared on WWE television on a number of occasions, and he was even a member of the Yes Movement when Daniel Bryan took over Raw in 2014. He also appeared on Deal or No Deal, and he would choose box number 23 as it was the number of that year's WrestleMania.
Deal or no deal?
Dang.
I'm gonna walk away a winner.
You didn't choose it? Oh, you even had wrestlers
He managed
there.
to win $106,000 on the show, and his appearance would feature cameos from John Cena, Edge, Randy Orton, and Bobby Lashley, which just shows how much of a big fan he really is. And whenever possible, Rick still continues to attend shows throughout the year, and he is very active and vocal on social media in relation to WWE and their product. And number 8, Brock Lesnar Guy. Brock Lesnar Guy rose to notoriety when he mimicked Brock Lesnar's entrance upon Lesnar's return to WWE in 2012.
I was like, I remember watching that. I was like, dang, he came back. Like, I had knew of Brock Lesnar. What am I saying? Brock Lesnar. I knew of him, but I just didn't watch him when he was in wrestling because I wasn't watching wrestling at the time. So yeah, when he came back, I was just like, oh wow. Like I did remember when he came, or when he went to UFC and people was talking on that. And then when he came back to WWE, I was like, oh wow, that's pretty cool. I didn't realize it was gonna last for as long as it did, but yeah, I thought that was cool. He was so happy.
Following this, he would appear at more and more shows in exactly same clothing, meaning that he stood out amongst the crowd. He has received criticism online for trying to take over the show and make the show about himself rather than the wrestlers. Brock Lesnar Guy is extremely active on social media, where he regularly posts about WWE and their storylines, as well as sharing pictures of him at ringside on a regular basis.
How are you gonna get mad at him for, like, bro, I didn't even know of the guy. So I'm like, obviously, it's like, yeah, there's fans of wrestling that watches it for them. Like, you know, my thing is, like, I'm going to pay attention to, like, all the fans as one. I ain't going to be, you know, pointing out each individual fan unless it's a fan that really, really stands out. I honestly didn't even know of this guy until this video. So that's why I'm like, yeah, that's to get on him because, he takes a selfie of a wrestler or some wrestlers in the background. And I'm like, I'm like, hey, bro, do your thing. Don't listen to others, but...
He's attained almost 50,000 followers on Twitter, meaning that he is one of the most followed WWE superfans in the entire world. But there you have it, guys. 8 of WWE's most infamous fans, and asking where they are now. Are there any more fans who should belong on this list? Let us know in the comments down below. Subscribe if you haven't already. Follow us on Instagram and Facebook for exclusive lists. And we'll see you next time with some more wrestling content.
That'd be crazy sitting there using the bathroom. Some fans, I don't know why fans be wanting to talk to people in the bathroom. I'm like, please do not talk to me. I won't even respond. I'm just like, nah, you weird. I'm like, you could have met up with me outside the bathroom, wherever. But I'm like, don't talk to me while I'm in the bathroom. But anyways, that was a pretty good video. Shout out to WrestleMania. If you guys haven't, make sure you go subscribe to him for more videos like this. Like, subscribe to me too. I will talk to you guys later. Thank you guys for watching, and peace.